This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 14th day of April in the year 2026. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're following tonight. There was less panic across the country today as fuel stations were able to restart service after receiving fuel shipments overnight. However, there is some worry that the panic buying that took place on Monday could have an impact on the available fuel on the market at this time. The Guyana Oil Company Limited Guyana is expected to receive a shipment of 21,000 barrels of gasoline and 9,000 barrels of diesel by Wednesday, the government has announced, while indicating that other major oil importers have begun to receive their consignments, despite delays, at least in one case. The announcement came last evening, hours after news of a shortage of fuel sent the country into a panic, with hundreds of persons scrambling to purchase fuel. In a statement, the Office of the Prime Minister assured that a temporary disruption in the fuel supply was being resolved. But the assurance appeared not to have allayed the concerns of many motorists, some of them continuing to line the pump stations across the city and in other parts of the country. Stating that there is no need for concern, panic buying or hoarding, the Office of the Prime Minister explained that while a single major oil company had experienced a delay in shipment, that shipment has since arrived. And based on a schedule of fuel imports released by the Prime Minister's office, Guyana received 3,000 barrels of gasoline and 14,000 barrels of diesel on Monday, and another shipment containing 12,000 barrels of gasoline and 6,000 barrels of diesel was scheduled to arrive today. Similarly, Ruimveldt Guyana Incorporated reportedly received 10,000 barrels of gasoline and more than 10,000 barrels of diesel on Monday, with another shipment of 10,000 barrels of gasoline and 18,000 barrels of diesel expected in the country today. Guyana's shipment is, however, expected to arrive on Wednesday, with offloading scheduled for Thursday morning. Guyana was not facing a shortage. The Office of the Prime Minister also said the government continues to monitor the development and will take all necessary measures to guarantee stable and reliable access to fuel across the country. Weighing in on the issue today, APNU Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal questioned whether the amount of fuel being shipped to the country would be able to meet the demand.
While the government has indicated that it is monitoring the situation and that shipments of fuel are expected within days, there's a strong reason to doubt whether those supplies will be sufficient. The current rush for fuel reflects not just an increased demand, but panic-driven behavior, with many individuals attempting to stock up. This in itself raises additional concerns, as fuel is not always being stored properly, both in terms of the containers being used and the environments in which it is being kept, creating potential safety risk.
Mahipal also said in light of global disruptions, including tensions in the Middle East, the government should have been better prepared. He said a shortage in fuel also raises important questions about the structure of the fuel supply system in the country, particularly whether there are potential suppliers who may have sought entry into the market but were not granted license.
The immediate priority must be to cushion the impact on citizens. This requires improved coordination in distribution, clearer communication to avoid panic buying, and public guidance to prevent unsafe storage practices. Beyond the immediate response, there must be a broader strategy focused on diversifying suppliers, strengthening reserves, and building a more responsive and resilient system.
Mahipal said stability in fuel prices is another critical issue at this time.
Any rise in cost would only place an even greater burden on hardworking Guyanese, who are already feeling the strain of the shortage and heavy cost of living.
And in a statement of its own, the Alliance for Change expressed grave disappointment and deep concern over what it described as the government's apparent mismanagement of the domestic fuel supply, which resulted in the shortages. The party said despite clear and growing signs of a looming global energy crisis, the government was both deliberately and negligently slow in responding to the situation. The AFC said the lack of foresight and preparedness has now manifested in empty gas stations, long lines, and uncertainty for ordinary Guyanese who depend on fuel for their daily livelihood. The party said it finds no comfort in the assurances by the President and the Office of the Prime Minister that the situation was being monitored, contending that the government has taken a reactive posture, and that is unacceptable. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Dead the horse with Bowser.
This is your time.
Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Right now, in Guyana, the future is being built and it starts in the classroom. ExxonMobil Guyana is investing $100 million over the next 10 years to expand STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, giving more young Guyanese the tools to succeed in a rapidly growing economy. With the establishment of the first National STEM Center at the University of Guyana, the $100 million initiative is expected to enhance the nation's education system. The impact is clear. Modern classrooms, empowered educators, and a generation of problem solvers ready to lead Guyana forward. Since oil production started offshore, oil and gas companies have been investing in the long-term development of Guyana. To learn more about how the energy sector is helping build Guyana's future, visit www.oilnow.gy for updates.
London, are you ready? This town week, we'll turn the heat all the way up. On Saturday, May 2nd, the ultimate experience. Team Rodney's Regional All Black. Dark Night at the Retrieve Ground Mackenzie. Performing live, straight out of Jamaica. 450. And turning up the stage, Jamal. Plus, special guest performance from Lyndon's very own, One Dan. Hosted by the unstoppable Gully Rez. Music powered by an all-star DJ lineup. Tickets are moving fast. Early bird general $5,000. Stage front VIP $15,000. Elevated all-inclusive VIP $35,000. Grab yours now in Georgetown at HJ Box Office, Fireside Suite, and Freddy's Stop Rock Market in London at Rodney's Court. Word Access Top-Up Shop at Hexton Online and Tropical Reflections. Team Rodney, Regional All Black. It's not just a party, it's an experience.
Well, the Guyana Fire Service has issued a warning against the use of non-approved containers for the storage of fuel, explaining that the practice poses a significant fire and explosion hazard. The warning comes a day after scores of persons were seen at gas stations with plastic and other bottles to purchase fuel, as there was a shortage at some of those stations. The fire service in a statement said improper containers such as drink bottles, water bottles and jars, glass containers and other unsealable vessels can easily rupture, leak and ignite, leading to devastating consequences such as extensive property damage, serious injuries or loss of life. The fire service said in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association standards, fuel must only be stored in approved metal safety cans with flame arresters, certified plastic fuel containers designed specifically for petroleum storage, containers that are clearly labeled, leak-proof and fitted with secure caps. The fire service also issued an advisory to households to store only limited quantities of fuel for domestic use, which will be not exceeding 5 gallons, unless permission is granted by the fire service to store larger quantities. The fire service is also urging persons tonight that if they're desirous of storing fuel in excess of the recommended amount, that they would need to apply in writing to the Guyana Fire Service Fire Prevention Department for guidance on the quantity and type of fuel being stored, as well as the storage location and safety measures that should be in place. The fire service is encouraging persons to keep fuel out of the reach of children and unauthorized persons, as well as to keep a fire extinguisher readily available nearby. 1 year after the tragic death of 11-year-old Adriana Young at the Doubleday Hotel in Tushin on the east bank of Essequibo, the Director of Public Prosecutions has advised that an inquest be conducted into the cause of and circumstances connected with the child's death. In a statement this afternoon, the Guyana Police Force said it has received the advice and is taking the necessary steps in keeping with the legal process. The Guyana Police Force said it also recognizes the importance of public confidence in matters of this nature and remains committed to upholding the highest standards of professionalism, accountability, and integrity in the execution of its duties. An inquest is a formal judicial inquiry conducted under the Coroner's Act to determine the cause and circumstances of suspicious, unnatural, violent, or sudden deaths. A magistrate would preside over the inquest, acting as a coroner. It involves a jury to establish who, when, where, and how the deceased died, and if anyone is criminally responsible. The death of Adriana Young and the discovery of her body in the pool of the hotel 1 day after she was reported missing at the same hotel led to several weeks of protests across the country. While a post-mortem examination found that she died from drowning, there was still a number of unanswered questions surrounding her death, especially since several searches were conducted in the pool just after she was reported missing at the hotel, and those initial searches came up empty-handed. It wasn't until the following day that the child's body was discovered in the same pool. There was also the issue of the police issuing a false statement initially, claiming that a child was seen entering a car outside the hotel. The police force eventually recanted that statement as it turned out to be false. Family members have always maintained that they believe there was some foul play surrounding the child's death. Adriana Young was at the hotel with her grandmother and other relatives at the poolside when she went missing. In the aftermath of her death, protests erupted outside the hotel and the hotel was set ablaze. The protests eventually moved to parts of Georgetown and became violent as the police opened fire on protesters, and several of them were arrested and charged for acts of terrorism. The family of Adriana Young planned to host a remembrance walk on the anniversary of her death on the 24th of April. The Guyana Elections Commission has not met in more than 6 months. In an interview with News Source today, GECOM Commissioner Vincent Alexander said the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Claude Singh, has refused to convene a meeting of the 7-member commission since last September's elections.
She is herself directly responsible for GECOM not having a meeting, and more so has refused to call any subsequent meeting.
The commission last met on the 7th of September last year, and the GECOM chairman has offered no explanation for her decision not to convene any meeting of the commission in more than 6 months. Opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed has been calling for the 3 commissioners who were nominated by the previous opposition to resign, but the commissioners have refused and have stated that their positions are constitutional positions. Alexander said the GECOM chairman cannot use that issue as any excuse to not call a meeting of the commission.
No, it's not justifiable. The extent to which we are still accepted as commissioners and still receiving our stipend is the extent to which then we should be doing what commissioners should be doing. It's either we're in or out. And for all intents and purposes, from the standpoint of them still paying us a stipend, we're in. So something is seriously wrong with the person who has determined that we wouldn't meet.
The opposition leader had hoped to meet with the 3 opposition-nominated commissioners earlier this year, but the commissioners have indicated that they were willing to meet under the condition that their removal would not have been up for any discussion. Alexander said since then the opposition leader has made no attempt to meet with them, and their position remains the same.
In relation to us as commissioners, we have a view from a legal perspective as to our standing, and we have said in the past that we will obey a legal determination of this matter, or if they wish to reconfigure the commission, they have a legislative option, so that between and among the leader of the opposition, the government and the parliament, there are options that are available to bring this matter to a head and to ensure that GECOM is in place and doing its work. No such action has been taken.
The GECOM Secretariat, meanwhile, has been operating without oversight from the full commission. Mr. Alexander warned that the chairman is setting a dangerous precedent. And with local government elections constitutionally due later this year, the Secretariat appears to be moving ahead with its plans without the requisite approval from the Commission.
GECOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GECOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration, name change, or correction. You must have the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-02-7729 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Dead the horse with Bowser.
This is your time.
Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have me clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Starbrook Market. This Mother's Day, treat those special ladies to something extra special. Father Moe and Determined Family Enterprise presents RWB, Roses, Wine and Brunch. Join us on Sunday, May 10th at the BV Ground Tarmac, East Coast, Demerara. Gates open from 3 p.m. for an unforgettable afternoon of great food, fine wine, and amazing vibes. Enjoy entertainment by Super Ray. DJ Aquilo, Father Moe, Gully Ras, Papa, and Mikey Spice. Plus, over $600,000 in giveaways. Early bird admission just $4,000, or go elevated VIP for $12,000. RWB, Roses, Wine, and Brunch. Sunday, May 10th at the BV Ground Tarmac. Celebrate those special ladies the way they deserve. Compliments of Barefoot Wine, Hennessy, Heineken, Tropical Rhythm, ENAT, Always, Pro Graphics, Caviar Coley, 94.1 Boom FM, Moet, and Fireside Grill and Chill.
Ice the cocoa tea, the sugar, and together we are complete, darling.
Please drink responsibly.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Minister within the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, Stephen Jacobs, today said the second United Nations decade for people of African descent must be about action and delivery, and not just only commitments. Speaking on behalf of CARICOM at the 5th session of the Permanent Forum of People of African Descent on Reparations, Sustainable Development, and Economic Justice this morning in Geneva, Switzerland, the minister said there are still imbalances as a result of colonialism. He said there must be a reshaping of the global system to ensure that the injustices faced, especially in the region, are rectified.
Chairpersons, the legacies of enslavement and colonialism remain embedded in global systems, reflected in persistent economic imbalances and constrained development pathways. For small island developing states, these challenges are further intensified by climate change. Addressing these interconnected realities requires coherence across reparatory justice reform of international financial architecture and urgent equitable climate action. The second international decade must therefore be a decade of delivery, where commitments translate into measurable progress in the lives of people of African descent.
Mr. Jacobs reminded the forum that the story of people of African descent has often been shaped by injustice, dispossession, exclusion, and the consequences continue to dictate present realities. He said while the recent recognition by the UN General Assembly of slavery and the transatlantic trade in enslaved Africans as the grievous crime against humanity places an essential truth on record, acknowledgement alone does not resolve injustice. If left unaddressed, he said, its effects will continue to shape opportunity, access, and development.
For CARICOM states, this is a lived reality. Our call for reparatory justice is therefore grounded in responsibility and equity. To the 10-point plan of reparatory justice, we continue to advance an evolving framework rooted in accountability, development, and partnership. We also welcome the growing momentum at the international level, including the Accra Proclamation and the strengthening of collaboration between Africa and the Caribbean. These efforts reflect the recognition that this is a shared history and the next chapter must be shaped through shared action.
Minister Jacobs also said CARICOM remains committed to working with the UN Forum and the wider international community to ensure that the next chapter is not written for people of African descent, but by them and with them, and in justice to their past, present, and future. Justice Younge this afternoon took the oath of office as a Justice of the Court of Appeal in front of President Irfan Ali at the office of the President. Justice Young is the last of 7 judges appointed Justice of Appeal based on a recommendation by the Judicial Service Commission back in May of last year. President Ali, in his address, congratulated Justice Young on her elevation to the appellate bench.
Her ascension marks not only a personal milestone of distinction, but also a strengthening of our judiciary. It is a moment that affirms the enduring vitality of our legal institutions. Her appointment attests to the confidence reposed in her intellect, integrity, and judicial temperament.
He said Justice Young's elevation to the appellate bench places her within a noble tradition. He said her role as an appellate judge not only requires legal acumen, but wisdom, restraint, and a profound sense of responsibility.
Your words will carry weight beyond the cases before you. They will shape the contours of the law and influence the lives of countless citizens. In accepting this office, you join a lineage of jurists who have contributed to the development and preservation of justice in our society. You are entrusted with the task of ensuring that the law remains a faithful servant of the people.
Justice Joanne Barlow, Justice Navindra Singh, Justice Nareshwar Harnanan, Justice Priyasuni Narayan Bihari, Justice Jocelyn Kai Thomas, and Justice Rafiq Khan are the 6 of the Justices of Appeal who were appointed back in 2025 based on the recommendations of the Judicial Service Commission. The 56-year-old East Ruimveldt businessman who was severely injured during an explosion at his home on Sunday morning has died. The father of 3 succumbed to his injuries this morning while receiving treatment in the burns care unit of the Georgetown Public Hospital. His wife, Melissa Allen, has confirmed. In a brief telephone interview with News Source, Mrs. Allen said that while her husband, Troy Allen, showed signs of recovery on Monday, his health condition continued to deteriorate overnight. She said he died moments after she left his bedside just after 10 o'clock this morning. The man was at home with his wife and 2 young children when the incident occurred during the early hours of Sunday morning at their Pineapple Street, East Ruimveldt, Georgetown home. The wife claimed that she was awakened to the scent of gas in the house and alerted the husband. According to the woman, moments after her husband proceeded to the lower flat of the building, a loud explosion rocked the building, collapsing it. The wife said she made it out of the house along with her 2 young children. The husband was taken to the hospital with multiple injuries. News Source understands that the Guyana Police Force has launched a full investigation into the incident. It was suspected that the explosion might have been caused by a leaking hose to a gas cylinder. However, the police and fire service are still investigating the incident. Linden Town Week 2026 has just gotten bigger. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday, the 30th of April at the Retrieve Hard Court in Linden for Big Woman Still Got Your Things, the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. And for the first time in Linden, live on stage, the Queen of Soca, Alison Hines. Plus 3 one-man bands and the one-woman band. Advance tickets are $5,000. Get your tickets at World Access Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue, Mackenzie, Barnes Taxi in Mackenzie, Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, R&T Clothing World in the Mackenzie Market, Shabba Hardware at 1 Mile Wisma, and Go Mosley Radio on Church Street in Georgetown. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2026 with Alison Hines. Compliments of Banks Beer, XM Rums, GT Beer, drink responsibly, One Communications, Church's Chicken, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Star Party Rentals, Fireside Grill, and Go Mosley Radio.
Kick off this summer in style with Pink and Bougie. Experience the Eldorado Pink and Bougie Soca Brunch Gala on June 21st at Ivory on the Park Rooftop, Brooklyn, New York. Tickets are $75 each and include an all-you-can-eat premium buffet, plus a live performance by Denise Belfort. Music by DJ Nessie from Trinidad and Tobago, DJ Neville, DJ Energy, DJ Roddy, and DJ Princess Chow. Get your tickets now from the Vet Bright or Caribbean Bites Restaurant, 488 East 98th Street, Brooklyn. Vibing from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. on June 21st at the Eldorado Pink and Bougie Soca Brunch. Good food, great music, and unforgettable energy. Dress pink and bougie. This is where summer begins.
Welcome to Churches New Amsterdam.
20 years of churches, chickens, you and us, and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors, and they always come back for more. Feel the love. Guyana, the love keeps growing, and we thankful for the support you are showing. There's so many locations and much more to come. It's gratitude and celebration. Can you feel the love? 20 years of churches, chickens, you and us, and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors, and they always come back for more. Feel the love.
Guyana, up your cash! Over 100 winners! More than $2.5 million in cash and prizes up for grabs. Win cash every week. Plus a chance to up your cash to $500,000. And that's not all. Win back your grocery bill up to $20,000 cash every week. Just grab any Buster Turbo Energy Drink, Fruitopia, Oasis Flavored Water, Fruita, or Viva Sparkling Flavored Water. Look for the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana on Facebook or Instagram for details. Up your cash today.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future.
Feel spice power in every sip.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, Trinidad and Tobago has officially designated 3 major Middle Eastern paramilitary and political organizations as terrorist entities, triggering an immediate freeze on any Trinidad and Tobago assets linked to the groups. In a significant national security development, the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago ordered the freezing of all local property associated with Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, under provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act. The orders, published in the Trinidad and Tobago Gazette on Monday, April 13, mark one of the most far-reaching applications of the Anti-Terrorism Act in recent years. The declarations were issued by High Court judges between April 8 and 9 and require ongoing 6-month reviews by Attorney General John Jeremy, underscoring continued judicial and executive oversight of the listings. According to the Gazette, Justice Carl Gobin issued freezing orders on April 8 in relation to both Hezbollah and the IRGC. A separate order issued by Justice Jacqueline Wilson on April 9 listed Hamas as a declared entity. The High Court orders directed that all property owned or controlled locally by the three organizations must be immediately frozen. The measures also extend to assets that may be held through intermediaries or proxy arrangements. Conservative Keiko Fujimori will advance the presidential runoff in Peru as the vote count entered a third day on Tuesday, with a former Lima mayor and center-left candidate locked in a tight battle for second place, according to the official count. Fujimori, a former congresswoman and the daughter of former President Alberto Fujimori, will advance the presidential runoff, expected on June 7, as she held 16.9% of the votes, with 74% of votes counted, the official election tally showed. Right-wing former Lima Mayor Rafael Lopez is among those vying for the second place, as the count by Peru's electoral body ONPE moved into a third day. Outsider Ricardo Belmont stood in fourth place, securing just below 10% of the votes. With none of the leading candidates anywhere near the 50% required to win outright, a runoff will be required, prolonging political uncertainty in the world's third largest copper producer. The tally for Sunday's election has moved into a third day after officials extended voting hours into Monday for more than 50,000 people who were unable to cast ballots as widespread delays and logistical failures hampered voting day. And finally tonight, international news. Talks to end the Iran war could resume in Pakistan over the next 2 days, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday, after the collapse of weekend negotiations prompted Washington to impose a blockade on Iranian ports, according to Reuters. Gulf, Pakistani, and Iranian officials also said negotiating teams from the U.S. and Iran could return to Pakistan later this week, though one senior Iranian source said no date had been set. While the U.S. blockade drew angry rhetoric from Tehran, signs that diplomatic engagement might continue help calm oil markets, pushing benchmark prices below $100 on Tuesday. Iran has effectively shut the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global waterway for oil and gas transport. Since the war began on February 28, roughly 5,000 people have died in the hostilities. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.